Good evening. Welcome to the July 14, 2014 Valley View School Board meeting. Hope you're all having a enjoyable summer so far. We will do the Pledge of Allegiance led by Member Venegas. If you'd all rise, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Member Sikora, if you would please, the affirmation statement.
Our mission is to ensure that all students are prepared for college and a successful life, academically, socially, and emotionally, as well as equipped with the necessary tools to have options and make decisions about their long-term goals. This will be accomplished by believing and working towards all students learning through a rigorous curricula and meaningful, effective instruction, consequently demonstrating mastery on high-quality assessments, with all stakeholders being held accountable throughout the process.
Motion would be in order to approve the agenda as presented this evening.
Second.
Motion by Member Campbell, second by Secretary Hansen. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Treasury report. Mr. Gazaffi, if you would please.
The Treasurer's report for July includes the financial reports, balance sheets, summary of revenues and expenditures, as well as the interim obligation payments from June 2014 totaling $4,016,689.66 for your consideration and action.
Motion to approve would
So
be in
moved.
order.
Second.
Motion seconded. Roll call vote, please, if there's no discussion.
Member Venegas,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Secretary Hansen,
Yes.
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
As is typical this time of year, we have two schedule of bills. The first for June 30th, 2014, wrapping up our fiscal year, totals $2,509,969.06 for your consideration and action.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll
Member
call vote, please.
Venegas,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Secretary Hansen,
Yes.
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
Second schedule of bills for July 14th, the opening of our new fiscal year, totals $3,261,745.56 for your consideration and action.
Motion.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
I just would like the public to know that the board members do look at this beforehand, and if we have questions, we do call either Mr. Gastaffi or Ms. Borg and ask her the questions that we have about these, just so that you know in advance that we have them in advance and see those.
Roll call vote.
Member Venegas,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Secretary Hansen,
Yes.
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
The remainder of the Treasurer's reports are for information at this time. You've got a summary of investments through June of 2014, the property taxes received through that same time period, as well as a state funding update, which I'm happy to report only includes one categorical, and that has to do with the school lunch program. We are basically caught up and paid all of the IOUs that we typically find ourselves being owed by the state in years past, as well as the trust account activities through May 31st of 2014. Happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
I just want to comment that the state lunch program only owes us $12,225. That's down from $4.5 million. So the state has made good on their obligation thus far this year. It will be an interesting fall when the elections occur, and we'll see if they extend the income tax increase or if they roll that back, because nobody will come out unscathed, education or otherwise, if they do not have the extra $3.5 or $4 billion in GRF that the state currently enjoys with the income tax increase from 3.5% to 5%. So hopefully we will not have to sharpen our pencils too sharply, because there are other things in the works, but I think it's going to be a tough road to hoe if this doesn't go well. Moving down the agenda, consent agenda items. Gary, if you would please. By the way, remember, Superintendent Mitchum is on his way back, and his plane was delayed. He's probably doing his best well, lack of, O.J. Simpson running through the airport, but to get here if he can, if his flight gets in on time or
Bad
a
reference.
little late, whatever. But hopefully he'll join us this evening as well.
Bad reference. Bad reference. Nobody remembers his rent-a-car commercials. Nobody
Well,
remembers.
I think I want to see Jim run through the airport.
4 consent agenda items for your consideration this evening, including the approval of the board minutes from the June 6th meeting, as well as the executive session meeting minutes, as well as student activity contracts for Irene King and Jane Addams Middle School, as well as a revised resolution 1487 providing for the transfer of monies from the education fund to the debt service fund for principal and interest obligations.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell? Yes. Member Sikora?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Student and staff recognition. If you would, Ms. Polson from Jane Addams, I think, is leading the charge on this evening.
Oh, that's it. Sarah from-
A-
AVM.
AVM.
Oh, AVM. Whoever's first, bring him on.
AVM Martinez.
See, I got bad information. It says right here.
No, they wrote on this paper.
Oh, no, it does say AVM start. My bad. Yeah. I don't know what the other is.
Good evening. Oh, sorry.
Come on.
Okay. Good
Sorry.
evening. Good evening, board members, senior leadership, and members of the community. I would like to first introduce Mr. Dennis House, our athletic director, and he will be introducing our students with their qualifiers and the track and field.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, we have some athletes here that did a really, really great job for us this year. First of all, 6th grader Kylie Barney, who went to state for 3 activities. She was 100 meter, 200 meter, and part of our 4x100 meter relay team. So Kylie Barney. Idara Anyang was part of our 4x100, 8th grader. Peyton Lockhart, part of our 4x100 meter relay team, 8th grader. And Katie Kerwin, also the 4th member of our 4x100 meter relay team, 8th grader. And these girls, when I always say you want to run your best when you make it to state, and these girls missed a medal by 1600ths of a second. They finished in 9th place, and they gave medals all the way up to 8th place. So they ran their best when they were at state. So a great effort, girls.
Girls, come back. We're going to do pictures up front.
Girls, wait for pictures, please. And then our 4x100 boys 100 meter relay team also ran their best at state. They went in unranked, and they finished 23rd in the state. So they did their personal best. 8th grader Greg Ian. 8th grader Anthony Gadato. 8th grader Chris Kerwin. And 8th grader Tom Krasinski. Except for Kylie, they're all 8th graders. We're going to miss them, but the high school is getting some pretty darn good athletes. Best of luck in high school to everyone.
Thank you, Coach.
Parents, if there's anybody who wants to take a photo, you can please feel free to come up and take a photo.
I had bad information. I'm good. Now for the bad news, kids. They didn't tell you this, but we're going to start school early this year. Tomorrow. I want to play cards with her. Hi. Ready?
I'm ready.
You've already been introduced, so go ahead.
All right. Good
Or
evening.
reintroduce yourself if you'd like.
Good evening. I'm Teresa Polson, the assistant principal of Jane Addams Middle School, and Coach Poteet will be introducing our students' athletes. However, before she starts, I would like to recognize that Mr. Rose from BHS and Coach Art Paul. This day may not have happened if it weren't for the dedication and support that we got from those 2 individuals in helping facilitate sectionals. We struggled to find a place to hold sectionals, and with their time, dedication, and support to the Jane Addams coaches and other coaches across Valley View, we were able to make sectionals happen. So I just wanted to recognize that.
I just want to add on to that, especially all the coaches at Humphrey. They really, really helped us with all that hard work. Okay, first up here, I am too short for that. Okay, we have Juwan Robinson. Juwan not only set our school record in the 200, but he came in 4th in state in the 200 meter, and he was our most valuable runner this year. Then next we have Alex Arce. He participated in our 4x4 in state. Great job, Alex.
Congratulations.
Sorry for a second, I had a brain fart. Okay, and we have Cameron Pettiford, who participated in our 4x2 at state, and he was a part of what helped make our 8th grade team win 3rd place in sectionals. Next, we have Elijah Porter, who went down to state for the 4x2. And last but not least, we have Lanice Johnson, who went to state for high jump, and she also set our 8th grade girls record for our school in high jump. And we just wanted to recognize some people. They weren't able to come tonight, but we have Leon Nepomuceno, Andrew Otto, Joseph Yesufu, Tariq Griffin, Khalid Kyles, Jordan Martin, Brendan Turner, Demia Patton, and Tyler Porter. Those are our other students who qualified for state this year.
Good evening. My name is Tricia Rollerson, and I'm the principal at Lukanzik Middle School. It is an honor to be here this evening to recognize our athletes. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Aaron Hinchcliffe, one of our track coaches, and Mr. Chris McVeigh, one of our athletic directors.
First, I just want to thank the school board for having us here tonight so that we could recognize our athletes who made it downstate this year. I'll just read off their names. Mark Wallace qualified for 7th grade boys high jump. Ariana Lampkins, 8th grade girls disc. Janetta Jones, 8th grade girls 200, and she placed 6th.
Congratulations.
And then I'll read the names. We have some students that couldn't make it. Elena Hood, Xavier Jones, Daytwan Burge, Amiri Buchanan, Elias Secreto, Christian Stevens, and Joseph Vasquez. Thank you.
Feel the energy. Well done. Congratulations, well done.
Next.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Allen. I'm the assistant principal at Humphrey Middle School, and it's my pleasure to be here tonight to recognize the Humphrey athletes and coaches. Alas, neither coaches nor athletes are here with me this evening. They continue to remain dedicated to spending their time in pursuits with family over the summer, as well as furthering their athletic endeavors. However, I do want to recognize their achievements and accomplishments going to state this year. So let me share their names with you. Jesus Bravo, Marshawn Brown, Jack Davidek, Josh Harrelson, Cameron Jackson, who received 10th place in both shot put and high jump, Devin Johnson, Deshaun Mallory, and Brianna Robinson, who received a 6th place in discus, and China Thornton. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Keith Wood, proud principal of Brooks Middle School, and we're pleased to have this opportunity to recognize some fine athletes. I'm going to present to you Coach Coker and Coach Kerr, who will tell you a little bit more about our fine athletes.
Thank you. Before I introduce the athletes, I would just like to thank our administration and our school administration for allowing us the opportunity to take these athletes downstate and compete in the IDSA. We had 29 students from our track team qualify this season. The students that are here representing those 29, the first one is Francesca Anacito. Autumn Armstrong. Sophia Plummer. Tyson Noble. Cameron Mitchell. And then representing our 4x1 8th grade girls team that took 7th place in state, we had Amber Armstrong, Alexis Lewis, Kayla Perry, April Lowry, and Brooke Patterson were also on the team as well. And then our 4x1 8th grade boys, which took 1st place in state, they're represented here by their entire team of Chris Bavaro, Kumi Olatunde, Gordon Martin, and Sean Showalter. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Good job.
Come on, John. Get a good picture, John. It's going on the website. Count on you.
There you go.
Count on you.
Well, a lot of pictures. While they're up there taking pictures, I had the pleasure of coaching young Mr. Showalter when he was little in baseball, and he could fly around the bases. So I can imagine he's probably anchoring that 4x1. Did I guess right? There we go. Enjoy your summer, kids. I believe that's it on student staff recognition. Correct? Thank you. Moving down the agenda, liaison reports. Any and all, please, from my right and my left. No reports. Next up, Ms. Kinder, action report superintendent. We don't have any this evening, correct? Oh, you do. Oh, I'm sorry, very top. Audience participation. Does anybody wishes to address the board this evening? If so, please step forward and state your name. Seeing none, moving down the superintendent report. Here we go.
Okay. With action report 11.1, we are seeking your approval for 7th grade mathematics materials, resources, and support. This information was presented previously on May 27th, and we are seeking your approval on this item tonight.
Second. Motion and second. Is there any discussion?
I have some questions.
Sure.
Okay. One of the things that is mentioned in the report about the book is that the Carnegie Learning Curriculum offers a student-led discovery of mathematics through task, and that the learning by doing method helps students cultivate a depth of understanding of math. Earlier this summer, you guys had a leadership convention where David Nagel, I believe, spoke.
Yes, that is correct.
And I believe that in his speech, he brought up the fact that direct teaching is a 5.9 and Discovery is a 1.1 or 1.5. A 4 shows 1 year's growth. So a 5.9 is much higher, so most students see more than just a year's growth. With Discovery, a 1.5 would mean that we're seeing less. I know that he also recommended that we do both in conjunction with each other, but I thought our district was really pushing the Discovery method in math, and that does concern me.
Well, it's important to note that those terms can have different meanings to different people. And so what you may understand as discovery learning or direct instruction could be very different. So if you refer to John Hattie's work in Visible Learning, and that's what Dave Nagel was sharing with us, direct instruction isn't in terms of a teacher giving a lecture for the entire period. Direct instruction means very purposeful and systematic explicit instruction, followed by application and practice. However, there is a marriage of both of these in how we implement the Common Core standards. And so it's not just what you may think of as traditional discovery-based learning where, there's no teacher-led instruction.
And when the principals, assistant principals go in the classroom to evaluate teachers, are they looking for student-led, or are they looking for discovery, or do they realize that there has to be some type of instruction that goes on before we can go to that next step?
I do believe the principals have had a great deal of professional development to begin to understand those changes specific to mathematics instruction, but also specific to what is expected of us through just best practices. So we refer to not only the what's expected through the Common Core standards in the instruction, student-led and classrooms and student ownership is a great part of that. Students need to have the responsibility to explain their reasoning, explain their understanding, to make an argument and all of that. But there is a place, absolutely, for teacher instruction. That's why we need teachers. And also with the Danielson Framework for Teaching, for example, that outlines in great detail how student ownership, student inquiry, students questioning other students, where it's not always just teacher directed, where that is what we are aspiring to in best practice. But to get there, it does take that scaffolding, basically, where teachers set that up in their classroom for students to get there. So it's not just a complete turn it over, students, you figure it out on your own, I'm just going to sit here. Absolutely not. Teachers are facilitators in the classroom, and students are more active in taking ownership in their learning.
I guess I have trouble with that term that teachers are facilitators, because I don't know what's wrong with teaching. Teachers being teachers, I think that's why we are given that term, and we constantly say that they're facilitators, when in actuality they do have to teach.
Absolutely, but it's not just a dissemination of information where I just dump information in your head and I'm the expert in the classroom. It really requires that students get engaged in the learning and not just memorizing information or facts that a teacher spits out to them and then writing them back down on paper.
And I totally agree. I think any good teacher has done that all along the way.
I agree.
And I have.
So is it safe to say that this is going to enhance the learning experience? Because when I hear the term facilitate, both in our educational field and in the real, well, I shouldn't say real, but in the workforce, it's about teaching and educating by questions, right? And having the students be engaged and participating, as we would our employees participate and engage in conversation, not just data dump and hope that they learned, but engage the individuals so that there is confirmation of understanding and learning. So I think we get lost in facilitation or in the term facilitating. It's more about engaging the individual and making sure that they understand the concepts, and it's not just teaching you, but asking the questions about what they've learned and how they engage. And what we have found, right, is that there's a lot of learning between students and employees among themselves, and they feel more comfortable asking each other and helping each other. So no one's just taking the teaching factor out of it. It's an enhancement to their teaching.
I agree. And like I said, I think teachers all along that are good teachers have done that forever.
And I wouldn't disagree with you, Member Sikora, and I would invite you to come into some of our mathematics classrooms, and you would see that some of the best practices that you've known and known forever are still in place. It's just where that was not occurring, we are providing teachers with resources and support to help them also include that in their classroom. So students aren't just copying down notes and memorizing formulas and plugging in numbers and then practicing them on a worksheet and the teacher says right or wrong, move on to the next chapter. We are learning and we are talking about how we got to that solution. Is there a different way that we could solve it? How might this apply in a real world problem? That's not just numbers written in a linear fashion on a worksheet. So it is, if good teachers were already doing this, and many of them were, it's really not a great change in their practice.
Okay.
It's just now an expectation that that's happening in all mathematics classrooms so that we are truly preparing our students for what they are going to be expected to do when they take that next step.
And my second question is, Mrs. Vey had given me the binder that had the Carnegie in it.
Correct.
And I went through chapter 3, which is in the front.
Mhm.
If I have questions about some of the stuff that I've tagged, just give it to her and ask her those questions. Is at
Absolutely.
appropriate route
Yeah.
to go? Okay.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't tell you that I have studied those materials to the depth that Mrs. Vey, the director, and the committee has. But they certainly have the most familiarity and the most knowledge because that's their specialty. So they would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to come and see that in action as well.
Any other questions? If not, a motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. No further discussion?
No, I'm puzzled because I thought we had because.
Oh, we already did. We're
Yeah,
taking
go
it
ahead.
all.
We already
Roll call
have
vote.
that, yes. I have Liz and
Then-
Leo.
Okay, parliamentary procedure. I'm just confused.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Is there any other questions?
Thank you for the
Point that out, Liz. We're in our summer game here. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
No.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Next up, board policies.
Yes, action report 11.2 is seeking your approval on 2 policies this evening, 6180 and 6185. And these policies were presented at the last board meeting for your review, and they're being presented tonight for your approval.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Mr. Grisafi, Nutrition Purchasing Cooperative.
The recommendation is to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Valley View School District and the Northern Illinois Purchasing Cooperative to become a member. The cost is a $1,600 one-time cost and a $200 annual membership fee. Based on an analysis that the Nutrition Services Department has done, based on a spend of $3.2 million with our primary food distributor, conservatively estimating between a 5 and 10% savings, equating to between $160,000 and $320,000 in savings by becoming a member of this cooperative, easily covering the costs associated with joining. And so at this time, that recommendation is to approve the intergovernmental agreement as presented.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion?
This is
yes.
one of the things I forgot to ask you today. Have we checked with other schools that are in this co-op to make sure that we have quality and?
Absolutely. The analysis was several pages long in a spreadsheet that Megan Gibbons, our Director of Nutrition Services, had undertaken to make sure that the savings were there, that the quality was there. This was not something that she has taken lightly. It's something she had considered last year,
Okay.
but being that it was only her second year in the district, she thought better of it, revisited it down at her school nutrition conference down in Springfield, talked to various school districts that are part of the cooperative to make sure it is indeed what it does what it says it will do.
So how big is the cooperative? And I should have asked you these questions prior, so you would have been ready. And I guess the reason that I ask is, I know often sometimes in these cooperatives, it says 70 school districts, so, or you have it on there actually. I wonder what percentage of that buying power we make up, and are we getting our full bang sometimes in some of these cooperatives because we are so large?
Yeah, and that is a great question. It's the same question I had asked Megan, in that, typically the smaller districts receive the bigger benefit at the behest of the larger districts. And so even with that being said, the buying power that we bring to the cooperative does mean maybe greater savings for the smaller districts than they're currently enjoying. But it also, we shouldn't not consider that.
But we still come out ahead.
Yeah, we still come out ahead. And so, again, it's something that I think she has vetted very comprehensively to make sure that it is a good decision. I asked a lot of the same questions that, and concerns that you had expressed. Did look at the spreadsheet, asked a lot of questions, and so, again, I feel comfortable in making the recommendation.
Under their bylaws, Gary, will we have an opportunity to get somebody on the board relatively quickly?
I certainly believe Megan is held in high regard throughout the state. She serves on several boards. She's also respected nationally, and so it would not surprise me for either her or her assistant director, Tracy Suter, that would be asked to join the board.
Great.
Is this paid out of food service funds?
It would be paid out of food service funds, correct.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Next action is computer device refresh for fiscal year 15. This would entail both student and staff computers. The replacement devices that are being requested would occur in a phased implementation over the course of this summer and fall. Back in 2010, the district's hardware replacement schedule to extend the life cycle of computer devices was stretched from 4 years to 5 years for laptops and from 5 years to 7 years for desktops. We felt that this was the most cost-effective approach to challenge with the challenge of minimizing our financial outlay while balancing the need for the end user to have fully functioning computer equipment. We are proposing to replace a number of the laptops and desktops with Chromebooks for the first time. These have been piloted successfully throughout several areas of the district. There's been a lot of meetings held with administrators in every building to make sure they were comfortable with this approach. They have a number of advantages, which include lower cost of ownership, longer battery life, and a very short boot up time if you're unfamiliar with a Chromebook. We are asking for, it says here 471. I think there's 25 spares that are included in there, so we're just under 500 Chromebooks of the 1,817 units that are being requested under this action. You've got several different matrices there to tell you where the laptops and desktops are being distributed across the various elementary, middle, and high schools based on laptops and desktops and also which schools. Also have the models there, trying to, again, maximize our bang for our buck. And so, again, the recommendation is to approve the replacement of these computing devices. We've got 1,817 total devices broken out with 541 laptops, 745 desktops, 496 Chromebooks, and 35 Chrome boxes. I think it's important to note that this purchase would not increase our overall annual spend. It falls under our annual lease allocation. We have about $1.8 million that we strive to hit annually. And I could tell you comfortably that we are below that. This is a 5-year lease that we are recommending, costing us about $165,000 per year. And so the recommendation is to approve the replacement of computing devices and associated peripherals in the grand total amount of $824,731.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Secretary Hansen. Any discussion? I have one question, but I'll ask it afterwards. I just want to know what a Chromebook is versus, or not a Chromebook, a Chrome box versus a Chromebook. There's a bunch of people in the background nodding their head. I'm sure they can answer that question.
Is that like the operating system or something to that effect?
Well, one's just a desktop, one's a laptop.
No,
there you
no.
go. See? Ask and answer. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Final action this evening is a bid award for Romeoville High School band instruments. We invited 3 vendors to respond. We had 3 responses. Unfortunately, one of those was received after the due date, in due time, actually. We actually sent bid specs out to 5 vendors. The bid summary is attached for your information. This acquisition would be funded through the FY15 school budget. And so at this time, we are recommending the award for band instruments to Music and Arts in the amount of $19,532, and Quinlan and Fabish in the amount of $14,111.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion on buying band instruments?
Yeah, I think that I appreciate the fact that the school district is making a commitment to Romeoville High School. We made a commitment to support the band show at Bolingbrook High School. These are instruments that our students need, and if you see the cost of some of these instruments, our students wouldn't play these instruments on their own. They wouldn't get these instruments on their own due to the cost. So I think it's very important that we support the arts at Romeoville High School, and in this case for something that's a need versus a want.
Any discussion? I have one comment. What Member Gugis just said is very true. Who wants to carry around a 28-inch bass drum? Take that and put it in your living room. We have motion and second. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Next up, Ms. Hawks.
Thank you, President Quigley. Action report this evening, 13.1. I do want to make a note for the record that this is a corrected copy of the consolidated action report. There was a couple of typing errors that we noted prior to the board meeting. One was the location for a hire for Rosemary Foley, so we made that change. And that was just an error in typing. And then the other one was a position error in typing for Ryan Newberry. He was listed as a math teacher. He's actually a special ed teacher teaching the subject of math. So we just wanted to make those corrections so that you would understand. So seeking your approval this evening on the corrected consolidated action report for certified and classified personnel. We're seeking approval on 109 items for certified personnel, 46 for classified personnel, 14 for administrative classified personnel, and 10 for administrative certified personnel.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
In the consolidated action report this evening, we had a few administrative recommendations to hire that the board has just approved. So I would just like to call off those names and ask those people to just stand. We won't make you come up and say anything, but just to recognize you. The first one is Mr. Adam Herder. He's being recommended as the District Director of Pre-K 5 Math and Science. Next is Ms. Nicole Gizio. She's being recommended the Assistant Principal for Student Services at Romeoville High. And our final one is Ms. Michelle Albano. She is being recommended as the Assistant Principal for Curriculum and Instruction at Bolingbrook High School. Congratulations to all of you. And my second action report is Action Report 13.2.
Job descriptions.
Yes, I was just moving my computer down. We're requesting the board to waive the first reading and recommend the approval of the proposed job descriptions due to reorganization within the transportation and technology departments. And those job descriptions that we are asking your approval on this evening are the Assistant Director of Transportation, Executive Director of Technology, and Assistant Executive Director of Technology and Information Security Officer.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
No.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes?
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Next.
Thank you. Information Report 14.1, I'm presenting on behalf of Dr. Mitchum. It is regarding the college and career readiness culture at Valley View School District, and it is in regards to the recommendation to have a director to support this college and career readiness culture and support the centralized effort to establish this culture in a comprehensive manner including the articulation, partnerships, and the coordination of resources. This information is for your review and will be brought back at the upcoming board meeting in August.
Thank you.
Legal services.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have another
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Science research.
Next one is Information Report 14.2, Science Research Methods course for 11th and 12th graders. This is information regarding the adoption of a pilot course for the select group of students for the next school year. It would include the purchase of materials, resources, and support for the teachers. This effort really has stemmed out of a partnership between a teacher, Patrick Holden at Romeoville High School, and with Lewis University. And this became kind of an extracurricular activity for students who were just interested in exploring science inquiry at a much deeper level, and has certainly grown. And through this partnership, we are recommending to develop a formal course where students could in fact earn credit for participating in this course, where they have the chance to go in a much deeper level with their science inquiry and support the changes that we will be making with our next generation science standards and the incorporation of them. So you will see much more detail outlined in this report, and we'll certainly be happy to answer any questions you have. If this pilot is successful at Romeoville High School, and we would determine that based on students enrolling and students successfully completing, we would expand this pilot to both high schools.
Couple questions.
Yes.
Really excited that we're doing this. I think that it's important. I was wondering, it's $2,000, right? It doesn't seem like that would support much, so I'm kind of wondering what the $2,000 is for.
It's just, that would be just to support some materials that students may need to conduct their investigations, their inquiry into whatever problem it is that they identify. So it is not much. I mean, we do have some monies allocated for science supplies at both high schools, but this money would be designated specifically for students in this course.
Do you have an idea on the number that we anticipate to participate?
Perhaps one section, I would say maybe about 15 to 20 students.
One of the other questions I had is, what makes this different than any of our other science courses?
It doesn't necessarily pinpoint one particular domain of the sciences. It rather would, based on whatever problem or topic the student chose to investigate, it would stem multiple disciplines. And then it's not like a defined curriculum in terms of the steps that they go through in completing their research. That's defined. But what it is in that topic that they explore, that is to be explored by the students. So it's different in the sense that it's furthering, it's an extension, it's not a predefined curricula. It's really kind of expanding the disciplines.
I think what causes me to have quite a little concern on that is that this framework is how all our science classes should look like.
Absolutely.
In terms of like NGSS, and it shouldn't just be this one particular special course. Mr. Herder should be working to make sure that all our science classes, ask questions, develop using models, planning and carrying out investigations. I'm just singling you out because you're new. Analyzing, interpreting data, using mathematics and computational thinking. These standards should apply even as low as kindergarten.
Absolutely, and we are making those shifts, but in our high school domain, we still have traditional biology, chemistry, physics, where we are incorporating those concepts that you just noted. However, this is just furthering that. This is allowing the students to go even deeper and step outside of those boundaries. But the changes that you see here and with the future incorporation of the next generation science standards would be incorporated into all science classes.
Because, with few exceptions, it appears that basically it's just a science class aligned to the NGS standards, which is great, and we should do that. I just want to, when it feels singled out, I worry that maybe our other courses don't look like this, and whether they're chemistry, biology, engineering, these types of expectations and this type of thought process should be used in all of those. I know that, but on a really positive note, the idea that a summary of ethics case studies, that sounds very interesting. Wondering where that's going to go. Obviously, that's a hot field in science, and not something that's in the NGS standard. So I just want to make sure that we as a district, I think sometimes, I don't think sometimes, I know sometimes that the subjects not on PSAEs and why can't I think of the new one?
Park.
Park, thank you, are pushed to the back burner. And we were talking about college and career readiness just prior to this. Those subjects are often where the job growth is for our students, you know, and so if we're going to do college and career ready, we need to make sure that even though Park and PSAEs or MAP or whatever doesn't test those, that we're making sure that we're giving that investment in all those areas. And so that just brought some concern initially that this class is great, or all our other science classes great, because I would hope that if we had this aligned, that this document would look wholly different because this is just like a basic outline of what all our science classes look like.
All of our science classes have not made a complete transition to be aligned to the next generation science standards. Those are changes that we will be making, and those are changes that are going to take some time. In terms of this being an isolated type of thing, I mean, at this point, it is separate. It was an extracurricular activity, meaning the students were already in other science classes. They were doing this on their own free time. This is going deeper. Because of that, the amount of rigor that was involved with it, that's why we want to make it a credit-bearing course. But we definitely want to take these principles and embed them into all of our science study at all levels. Good. And I think we've made some changes, but I know that there has been a primary focus when we first got started on literacy and mathematics, and I know that we are expanding that focus as we are moving forward. So your point is definitely well noted.
And I want to thank Mr. Holden at RHS for doing this. You know, doing this as an after-school project, and now it's becoming a credit course. Just really appreciate everything that he's done. Do you happen to know what his master's degree is in?
I don't. I do know, unfortunately, he had to relocate out of state, and so he's no longer with us at Romeoville High School. So it is a big loss because he had a great passion and a great expertise for his craft.
Yeah, I do know that one of the issues with partnering with four-year universities is that to get credit, they want the teachers to have the degree in the field of study. So if they have a master's degree in education, they appreciate that, but that is not what they're looking for in terms of almost adjunct professor status to give our students dual credit. So I just want to encourage all those folks out there with master's degrees in science and other subjects, get into teaching, and then we can do great things together, because it's really a barrier sometimes for us.
For the dual credit, that certainly is a requirement. We would be the credit issuer. There's not a dual credit associated with this.
I thought we were talking about doing some dual credit. It has the potential.
It does have the potential because it's very tightly aligned with this particular course at Lewis University. And so if we can demonstrate that it has the rigor and we use the appropriate materials and the instructor is qualified, I do believe that we could find partners that would be willing to offer that college credit as well. But that is an area that we certainly are aware of.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Information report 14.3, presenting. Four policies. Yep. 4 policies for first reading. 2.125 board member expenses. 6.170 Title I programs. 7.1 health and dental. And 7.18, preventing bullying, intimidation, or harassment.
And last but not least,
14.4, presenting a contract for your review. This is a contract regarding the Regional Safe School Program, the partnership between Valley View School District and the Regional Office of Education through Lincoln School. This contract indicates that through this partnership, our students who do attend that school in lieu of expulsion, we would be incurring a $10 a day per student charge for that student's attendance, and I'm sure that this is a result of financial constraints as well. So this is for your review, and we would bring this back to you for approval at the next board meeting.
I'm sorry. I'm going to back up. I don't know. Did we miss liaison reports or did we skip it?
All right.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
My right and left.
I missed it. I want to refer back to one of the documents that just came up, and that would be board member expense. It's out there for first reading. Maybe 2 months ago, Member Sikora asked for us to look at that policy. So we have tightened that policy up and will limit board members' I want to make sure I get it right.
$2,000.
To $2,000 a year for training. That would not include any state mandated by law training such as Open Meetings Act training for new board members that's required under Senate Bill 7. But that expense would be $2,000. And basically what that will allow a board member to do is attend our state conference one year and the national conference the other year. However, board members would be free to choose how to use that, but it will be for $2,000. The policy does, for those citizens out there that aren't aware, it does reiterate that board members do not receive compensation for these services, and that $2,000 would solely be for the purposes of expense reimbursement. Board members are volunteers.
And question to that point, to that policy or that first reading, I know that once that goes into effect, or once we decide that and we make the decision, can board members continue to take additional trainings or developments at their own cost without seeking reimbursement from the district?
Absolutely. And I believe that's written in there.
Is it?
It is.
And then also,
It is.
you brought up another point I wanted to. Absolutely, board members can do that. There was another point, I lost it, so when I remember it, maybe I'll add it back at the end. But absolutely, Mr. Venegas.
Okay, thank you.
Next. Legal Services.
No report.
Thank you. AFT. No report. Valley View Council. No report. Valley View Office Council. Apparently no report. Any old business before the board this evening? Any new business before the board this evening? Any questions of the board on actions we have taken this evening? Any announcements by the board?
I just have one. In looking through the trust funds of the different schools, I'd like to thank the principals and assistant principals who have acknowledged their teachers. I see that there's a lot of things where they have put in for Teacher Appreciation Week and done some good things for the teachers. I think that needs to be necessary no matter where you work. I think you need to be acknowledged for what you do and how well you do it. So I would ask that we continue to also support those teachers in a positive way.
I will add, I found my frame of reference here, and it speaks to Member Venegas' point. School board, in terms of our new policy, in terms of board expenses, school board members may participate in board-related seminars which exceed the cost of $2,000 per year. However, any amount beyond $2,000 that school year will be borne by the board member personally. If a board member has participated in a board-related seminar that is paid for by the district, it is expected that the board member will report back to the board, either verbally in written format, as to the subject matter of the board-related seminar and how the board member's attendance was beneficial to the board member and or the district. So I think that's a new expectation. It's been done in the past, but now it's official policy that when we attend these events, there's the expectation in the policy that we come back and report what gains we had from that. My other announcement is I would like to thank the Village of Romeoville for approving a business that is going to bring roughly $800,000 in new tax money to the school district. I think the total project somewhere around $100 million. I will pronounce the company's name wrong, but they manufacture frozen pizzas all across the country. Walmart's one of their suppliers. So we're happy to have them in Romeoville and in the Valley View School District. We're even more happy that they'll contribute $800,000 in taxes, which will mean the rest that will get spread out among the rest of us, so we'll all pay a little less, hopefully. A couple more businesses like that, we can start seeing lower property tax bills. So I really want to thank the Village of Romeoville because, needless to say, lots of communities, lots of other areas wanted to get them to relocate to Romeoville. And obviously this is the kind of partnership that we got to have where the village and the school district work together in these tough times to make sure that we do the right thing by the taxpayers. So thanks a lot to the Village of Romeoville. That's all.
Anyone else? I have one brief announcement. The Heart Haven Outreach, which we use, is a program that about 185 at-risk youths in our communities, both Romeoville and Bolingbrook, have taken advantage of in the last year, is having their annual Christmas in July gala dinner. It's also a golf outing, but I believe the golf is sold out. That is Wednesday, July 16th, so a couple days from now. But the dinner, I believe you can still register on site, and They have all kinds of auctions, and they have all kinds of raffles and all kinds of ways to get your money, which is great.
Fundraiser.
I got my arm twisted to be a celebrity chef. I'm not cooking that night. I'll be auctioning off my cooking duties. Some of you guys have eaten some of my cooking, so you didn't get sick, did you?
So can I pay not to eat it, or do I have to pay
Well,
to-
if you want to bid, I'm in there. So I'm going with a grill and some meat, whatever that means. But hopefully you can attend that. It's a great. It's a H2O, or Heart Haven Outreach is a great partner in the community for our district, and they do touch a lot of at-risk young people, and we need to support that organization as best we can. And again, if you want to join, I'm sure that they'll find a place for you, and come by and have a great enjoyment of the evening. And I will be there, and I'm sure some of the other board members will be there, and there'll be a bunch of people from the school there, hopefully. I know Mr. Brown will be there, correct? He's nodding his head in the back. So that's all I have for Heart Haven Outreach. Any announcements by the administration? Any announcements by the public? I did get a text message from Dr. Mitchum. He is en route, but he will not be here by the time we are done with this meeting, unless he walks in the door in the next 30 seconds. With that, a motion to approve would be in order.
Motion to approve?
To approve.
Adjourn.
Sorry.
Okay, just wonder what I'm...
Motion to adjourn this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. We stand adjourned.